No matter what the outcome of this ongoing India or Bharat debate is, one thing is pretty clear. Many people around the world are learning that India is also referred to as Bharat. So even the mouthpiece of the Chinese government has reacted to this, and as expected, their intention seems quite strange. Take a look. It is Global Times Voice. It says, India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world and is poised to continue on this path. The country has overtaken the UK to become the world's fifth largest economy, and it aims to become third largest in the foreseeable future. It adds, undoubtedly, India has gained growing world attention. No matter what message India wants to send to the outside world through its G20 presidency, it will gain more weight and more people will pay attention to what India wants to say. It also adds, the Indian people have the freedom to call their country whatever they want. However, a name is not the most important thing. Now, quite cunningly, within the same article, this mouthpiece of the Chinese government makes its intention quite clear. In order to understand that, please focus on these words. It says, India is increasingly shifting toward trade protectionism. And then read this. Since the launch of the Make in India initiative by the Modi administration in 2014, there has been a lot of discussion about how to make India a manufacturing superpower. But then, India's recent strict crackdown on some Chinese companies is connected with rising nationalism and populism in the country. This situation will inevitably undermine investors' confidence in India. I mean, see this? How delusional. Well, India has restricted several Chinese tech companies because India is keen to minimize the emerging security threat from China. It has been observed that the close working relationship between Chinese big tech and the Chinese Communist Party is perceived as a national security threat by many countries. And by the way, the absence of several Chinese companies is actually helping India attract foreign investments from countries that do not present the same risk. As described here, as per the CCP's constitution, it is mandatory for any enterprise with more than 3 or more full party workers to form a party's organization and provide for party activities. And as per Article 7 of China's National Intelligence Law 2017, Chinese companies are required by law to share data with the state. So yes, China should understand this. India's rise or re-emergence seems inevitable, with or without China. It is China who seems very desperate today. Its own economy is facing big troubles. Its own growth model is being questioned. Crisis in the real estate sector, unemployment, and more. The list of its problems seems almost endless. Despite the growth in the bilateral trade between the two Asian giants, China knows very well that the actual potential of its trade with India is far higher than what it is today. And because of China's mischief, betrayal, and dishonesty, it is likely that the trade partnership between India and China will never reach its full potential. So yes, in a way, this article reflects that China regrets that it cannot get a bigger chunk from India's growth story. Deep down, China knows that it is India's century, and at the moment, India seems like an unstoppable force. And this Global Times, the same newspaper that is writing a few positive lines about India now, has published numerous articles that have attempted to malign India's image and make it look like a poor choice for foreign investment. Just because Chinese propaganda wasn't taken seriously by the foreign companies that eventually chose India. Now, in articles such as these, is China trying to give some sort of advice to a country that is China's spiritual guru? And as always, this newspaper's comment section is full of abuses or comments against India, which are not even properly moderated. Let me show you an example here. Backward nation with slavery mindset, with 99.9% living under poverty. Beggar fascist PM. The Chinese economy is in trouble, and China needs India. But how can any country trust a backstabber? Back in Tamil Nadu, the world witnessed that India showed a gesture of friendship towards China. How Xi Jinping was welcomed in Bharat. How can anyone forget that? India showed its sincerity. And what did India get in return? Betrayal. Betrayal from China at the border. Bharat and her people will never forget that. Today, G20 has given India another opportunity to shine on the global stage. And many Indians know very well why Xi Jinping is not coming to New Delhi. At the moment, India may lack the financial muscle that China has, but it is gradually emerging as a more reliable voice of the Global South. And what is happening in G20 gatherings clarifies that. For example, the Voice of Global South Summit, which witnessed participation from 125 countries, was one of the foremost initiatives under India's presidency. It is important to point out that India's presidency has not only seen the largest ever participation from African countries, but has also pushed for the inclusion of the African Union as a permanent member of the G20. So yes, Xi Jinping's absence solidifies what many always knew. Modi outshining Xi on a global stage? How can China tolerate that? In the end, it is about China's greed versus India's human-centric approach. So yes, from that perspective, the future is India. See you again